We must comprehend these things, my brothers and sisters, okay? That our Savior, Son of the Most High, is who we follow, my dear brothers and sisters. Moses, leader of Israel. Moses, the leader of Israel, is not the son of the Most High. He is not. The son of the Most High, our Savior, our Messiah. Moses leaned on his understanding, on his own understanding. Which the Most High was like, look, you need to mature for a minute. Our Savior, the Son of the Most High, never leaned on his own understanding. He did the will of the Father. Always, my dear brothers and sisters. Our Savior is the head of all prophets, all leaders, all angels. He is who we follow. But before he, which is the Son of the Most High, before he came into the flesh, we had the law of Moses, given to him by the Spirit of the Most High. Brother Moses, before our Savior came into the flesh, we had the law of Moses. But it was not used correctly. It was used for masturbate, self-gain, instead of gaining toward the way of the Father. Those who taught the law of Moses would teach it, but didn't live by it. Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 23, verse 1. Then our Savior spoke to the multitudes and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. Therefore, whatever they tell you to observe, that observe and do. Let's run that back. Chapter 23, verse 1 in the book of Matthew. Then our Savior spoke to the multitudes and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. Therefore, whatever they tell you to observe, that observe and do. But do not do according to their works, for they say and do not do. Therefore, whatever they tell you to observe, that observe and do, but do not do according to their deeds, for they say and do not do. For they bind heavy burdens hard to bear and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. But all their works they do to be seen by men. But all their works they do to be seen by men. But all their works they do to be seen by men. They make their phylacteries broad and enlarge the borders of their garments. They make their phylacteries broad and enlarge the borders of their garments. They love the best places at feast, the best seats in the synagogues, greetings in the marketplaces, and to be called by men, Rabbi, Rabbi. But you do not be called Rabbi, for one is your teacher. For one is your teacher, the Son of the Most High, our Savior, the Messiah. And you are all brethren. Do not call anyone on earth your father. You know, that's what the that's what the that's what they the Catholics go in there and they say father to a man. They go in that little closet. I'm gonna run that back. Verse 9, do not call anyone on earth your father, for one is your father. He is in heaven. He who is in heaven. He who is in heaven. And do not be called teachers, for one is your teacher, the Son of the Most High, our Savior. But he who is greatest among you shall be your servant. And whoever exalts himself will be humbled. And whoever exalts himself will be humbled. And he who humbles himself will be exalted. But woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. For you neither go in yourselves, nor do you allow those who are entering to go in. My dear brothers and sisters, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayers. Therefore you will receive greater condemnation. My dear brothers and sisters. And let's go back to Matthew chapter 22, verse 33. Matthew chapter 22, verse 33. And when the multitudes heard this, they were astonished at his teachings. And who were they astonished at? Our Savior's teachings. The Son of the Most High, the Messiah. But when the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered together. Then one of them, a lawyer, there's a lawyer. You know, the world gives you a lawyer. And what is that? Someone who knows the law of the world, right? So verse 35, then one of them, a lawyer, asked him a question, testing him and saying, Teacher, which is the great commandment in the law? Our Savior said to him, you shall love the Most High, your Father, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and the great commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourselves. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. My dear brothers and sisters. My dear brothers and sisters. Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. Do not think that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For surely I say to you, till heaven and earth pass away, one jot or one tittle will by no means pass from the law till it is all fulfilled. For surely I say to you, till heaven and earth pass away, one jot or one tittle will by no means pass from the law till all is fulfilled. So, who fulfilled the law? Our Savior. Let's go back to 17. Do not think that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Our Savior fulfilled it. Do not be deceived. Talking about you believe. Got these scribes and these Pharisees nowadays talking about they believe. They believe in themselves. They believe in their own doctrine. They believe in their own ego. What does Matthew chapter 23 verse 5 say? But all their works they do to be seen by men. What does verse 13 say in Matthew chapter 23? But woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. For you neither go in yourselves, nor do you allow those who are entering to go in. Let's go to the book of Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 4. Having become so much better than the angels as he has by inheritance obtained a more excellent name than they. I'm going to run that back. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 4. Having become so much better than the angels as he has by inheritance obtained a more excellent name than they. For to which of the angels did he ever say, you are my son, today I have begotten you? And again, I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son. But when he again brings the firstborn into the world, he says, let all the angels of the Most High worship him. Let all the angels of the Most High worship him. So we worship our Savior. We worship our Savior. Got these people out here, these Pharisee spirit people out here talking about the law of Moses. That was before our Savior came into the flesh. We follow our Savior. We're going to stay in Hebrews and go to chapter 8. Chapter 8, verse 6. Hebrews chapter 8, verse 6. But now he has obtained a more excellent ministry, inasmuch as he is also mediator of a better covenant, which was established on better promises. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then no place would have been sought for a second. I'm going to run that back. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then no place would have been sought for a second. Because finding fault with them, he says, behold, the days are coming, says the Most High, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt. And who did he use to take them by the hand to lead them out of Egypt? Was that not Moses? So there is a better covenant, and that is the new covenant, which is our Savior. Because they did not continue in my covenant, and I disregarded them, says the Most High. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, says the Most High. I will put my laws in their mind and write them on their hearts, and I will be their father, and they shall be my people. None of them shall teach his neighbor and none his brother, saying, know the Most High, for all shall know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them. For I will be merciful to their unrighteousness and their sins and their lawless deeds. I will remember no more. My dear brothers and sisters. And do we not have a comforter now? So you know that the Most High is the Most High, the Father of everything. You know to obey him. You know, quit it. You know to accept our Savior. Quit it. That's when it says none of them shall teach his neighbor and none his brother, saying, know the Most High. For all shall know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them. They know, but they reject. Verse 13, we still in Hebrews, chapter 8, verse 13. We're going to get back to it. In that he says a new covenant he has made, the first obsolete. Now, what is becoming obsolete and growing old is ready to vanish away. My dear brothers and sisters. My dear brothers and sisters. My dear brothers and sisters. Then indeed, even the first covenant had ordinances of divine service, and the earthly sanctuary for a tabernacle was prepared, the first part, in which was the lampstand, the table, and the showbread, which is called the sanctuary, and behind the second veil, the part of the tabernacle, which is called the holiest of all. My dear brothers and sisters. And then let's go to verse 9, chapter 9, verse 9. As please keep reading all that, brothers and sisters, but I just want to go to verse 9. It was symbolic for the present time in which both gifts and sacrifices are offered, which cannot make him who performed the service perfect in regard to the conscience, concerned only with foods and drinks, various washings and fleshly ordinances imposed until the time of reformation. But our Savior came as high priest of the good things to come, with the greater and more perfect tabernacle, not made with hands, that is, not of this creation. My dear brothers and sisters, not with the blood of goats and calves, but with his own blood, he entered the most holy place once for all, having attained eternal redemption. For if the blood of bulls and goats and the ashes of a heifer, sprinkling the unclean, sanctifies for the purifying of the flesh, how much more shall the blood of our Savior, the Most High, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to the Most High, cleanse your conscience from dead works to serve the living Father, the Most High. My dear brothers and sisters. For this reason, he is the mediator of the new covenant, by means of death for the redemption of the transgressions under the first covenant, that those who are called may receive the promise of the eternal inheritance. So, my dear brothers and sisters, I love you. Stay prayerful. We are under the new covenant, which is our Savior. Brothers and sisters, stay prayerful and keep your lamps filled with light.